This video was taken on a creature expedition deep in the woods of Alabama. Is this an unknown creature caught on tape? They think they see a figure hiding between two trees, and when they zoom in for a closer look, they hear a deep noise. Well, some people think this is a cryptid noise. I'm pretty sure it's just the sound of the zoom lens going in and out of focus. Do you think this is a creature sighting they've caught on camera? I think they were just creeped out in some admittedly scary woods. The next time you gaze up into the serene night sky, you might experience a feeling of panic instead of peace. Posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by After Performance 2. The Redditor explains that these strange lights were seen in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina last year on July 19th. The lights were grouped in threes, and according to the Redditor, some disappeared before she could capture them on video. The video shows a trio of lights floating overhead in the sky, and a moment later, another trio closer to the horizon off in the distance. The sets of lights don't float in strict formation, but seem to each be wavering at their own pace. They then flicker and disappear. Redditor Professional Truck 3 suggests that these were paper lanterns lit and then launched from the beach, but the 70s Kids negates that, saying if these were lanterns, they'd drift apart. Well, some say the wind is obviously taking the lanterns in the same direction. After Performance 2 theorizes that they're all going to the same destination. Another Redditor, Buster Blevins, chimes in proposing that this is not necessarily a unique occurrence. He wrote, "Last Friday, a bunch of people saw something very similar to this in northern Wisconsin. The lights would appear in groups of 3, and it was as if there was a pattern that looked like the light was traveling in a circle around something." Any other theories as to what these strange lights could be? Rob Davies and Chris Felton are driving down the A696 highway in the UK when they see this weird figure flagging them down in the middle of the night. The video is too grainy for me to tell for sure, but they claim that this person was wearing an old baggy Royal Air Force uniform from the 1940s. I guess it does somewhat resemble a one-piece jumpsuit from that time. When Rob and Chris double back to pick up the stranger, he is gone. Rob returns home that night and does some research. As it turns out, a Royal Air Force plane lost control around a place called Middleton Farm in 1943. Coincidentally, that is exactly the same location where this video was supposedly recorded. According to the legend, there are many different ways to summon Bloody Mary, which means that the method you choose could change what happens to you. The person in this video uses a slightly different method that I've never seen before. Instead of spinning around 3 times and then saying Bloody Mary, she says Bloody Mary once after each spin. This is the end result. Her face becomes smeared, and she quickly darts out of the room. If this video is real, then it appears that Bloody Mary somehow removed all of her facial features, perhaps as a warning. Have you ever felt like you were being watched? Published to YouTube by Mo Vlogs in July of 2018. This CCTV footage will spook even the bravest among us. While most of this video is super upbeat, about 10 minutes in is where the terror enters. It's then that Mo claims that he was being watched the day prior while taping his vlog, and he has the CCTV footage to prove it. He says there was a spooky person in a mask following him all day. Although Mo admits he thinks it was a prank, he pulls up the CCTV footage of this spooky lurker to show viewers what he had to contend with. The lurker appears to be wearing a black hooded robe and a white mask, walking at a gilded gate. He is seen crossing a parking lot, though it's not clear from whence he came from or where he is going. Mo says the footage was filmed that morning, not the day prior, so he surmises that the only person the lurker could be is his security guard or his mom. Prank or not, this haunting image is sure to give you nightmares. A man in an undisclosed city hears this noise and begins recording. He sounds like he has anxiety from hearing this noise, and then later in the video you learn something very strange.
Yet again, I can hear that echoing sound, that eerie sound again today.
So obviously that has been going on for some time. However, nobody else around him seems to be upset or alarmed from the noise. Maybe this is some kind of ordinary city sound, and the uploader is pretending to be afraid as a prank. For those of you who have lived in a large city, what is this noise, and why would you hear it on and off for months on end? Beam Me Up Scotty, published to YouTube in June of 2019. This CCTV footage reveals a possible spirit captured on video in Port Moresby that same year. The footage shows an intersection that looks to be on the outskirts of the city, probably from restaurants or shops that are still open at night. Street lamps illuminate the roadway, blinking on and off as a truck turns at the crossroads. Then something strange and out of place appears. On one corner of a median, a ghostly glowing mist manifests before rising upwards and out of sight. On closer inspection, the small figure appears humanoid, glowing at its core. But what is it, and where did it go? If you've ever wondered who would win in a battle, a human or a ghost, you're about to have your answer. This clip was posted to Facebook in March of 2020. The footage shows a semi-transparent ghost throwing rocks and other items from under a bridge. As other men enter the scene and see what's transpiring, one of them takes it upon himself to run at the ghost man and confront him. After a struggle with the man, the ghost comes out ahead. Many more men join in before the ghost man escapes and assumedly glides off to his ghost den. What's happening here? What did this ghost possibly want? This story needs a follow-up. Two friends are driving down a quiet stretch of California highway when they notice a man dressed in all black is standing in their lane with his back turned to them. What's weird is how he is standing on a well-lit highway close to the street lamps, yet not a single detail is visible. It's easy to see everything that's around him, but even the headlights of oncoming traffic are not enough to illuminate him whatsoever. I do agree with the uploader that this is strange, but I'm not sure if this means he is a spirit or not. Let me know if you think this was just a broken down motorist or an actual shadow person. Steve Huff of a ghost hunting channel called Huff Paranormal makes a video to show us once and for all that the supernatural can speak clearly and can understand much of what we ask them. To do this, he uses a spirit box he personally engineered himself called a Wonderbox Gold. Without getting into specifics, I'll just say that thousands of dollars went into buying the right components. So it's no surprise that this custom spirit box works way better than the typical free apps and cheaper equipment used in other paranormal investigation videos. The ghost EVP comes in clear. First a woman and then a less than excited man.
Hey, what's your name?
I'm Steve. Steve Huff. What's your name?
My name is Jack Gordon.
Jack Gordon keeps wanting to know Steve's name, but seems to know one big difference. Steve is alive and he is not.
Who are you?
I'm Steve Huff. I'm alive, I'm human, I'm in my backyard.
I know.
This is the second time the ghost has asked Steve for his name. Steve says that spirits are intelligent, but they have trouble retaining new information, so it would make sense that Jack doesn't remember a new person's name, because it's not his old memories. Technically, they shouldn't even be meeting at all. Paranormal Huff later does some research into public records and finds a man named Jack Gordon who lived one town over. It's a creepy coincidence, but that's a common name that you can probably find almost anywhere. Plus, it kind of sounds like the spirit box could have said Jeff if you listen again.
My name is Jack Gordon.
But the point is, Steve claims a ghost was answering questions. So do you think this homemade device is real? On one hand, it makes sense that the spirits would be able to communicate more clearly on one of the most expensive spirit boxes ever made, or it could just be regular radio waves. A paranormal investigator who goes by Bakersfield Paranormal Services sadly lost his mother and is filled with grief. Even though he is very distraught, he wants to communicate with her. He goes to the cemetery with his equipment and approaches his mother's marker. At first, he asks some basic questions and has her respond by playing with the lights.
Are you always around me and my wife and my kids? Thank you. Emotions there, Mom. Do you love my wife? Okay, I got it. I got it.
After a while, he pulls out what he calls a ghost box, which supposedly allows his mother to communicate using various radio frequencies. He believes other spirits are crowding around the box and keeping his mom from communicating.
Mom, can you please speak to me? You're trying to?
He thinks she says, "I'm trying to," but I think it kind of sounds like she might be saying, "I love you." Listen to it again and let me know what you hear during this part. A popular YouTuber named Mikey021 has reason to believe his house in Brazil is really haunted. He says it's not uncommon for objects to go moving on their own. Tell me if you think this home experiment is real or not. This video might be a spirit, or he could be blowing plastic cups off his counter with a hair dryer. It looks paranormal until you realize it could simply be wind. If some heavier objects were caught on camera from a different angle, showing both sides of the counter, then I would be more readily convinced, but as it stands, I'm just not sure if his house is haunted. A YouTuber named Lothvan hears a knock at 4:30 in the morning. This has been going on for quite a while, and he's finally had enough, so he grabs his camera and heads out. He films the outside scenery for a bit and catches nothing but crickets chirping under a night sky, or so he thinks. He looks at the video later and notices a small white face peering back at him from the shadows. Lothvan is now convinced that this is proof of how Slenderman stalks him and haunts his dreams at night. I'm curious as to whether or not you think someone was really there, or if this all sounds made up. Is my house haunted? Writes a user named BB5432 on the haunted subreddit. This paranormal video of their place was caught on a neighbor's doorbell cam across the street, who later showed it to her out of concern. It doesn't look like much at first, but there's actually a lot of creepy things going on in this video that you might not see. But first, let's start with the basics. The Reddit poster claims her house was completely dark when these mysterious, unexplained lights started flashing all around the door. The television in the living room was not on, she says, and even if it were on, it's facing the opposite way at an angle that would not create this effect at all. Whether or not to believe her is up to you. I do, because the flashing seems too bright for a television and takes up the whole window at times. Nobody would watch a television screen that bright because it would undoubtedly hurt to look at for that long. And at 25 seconds, the creepy light grows even brighter and does not subside until the video ends. BB5432 later posted, she has no further reason to think their house is haunted, but still struggles to explain what this was if not a ghost. She adds the same thing happened to her years ago. The same neighbor showing her and her husband lights in their door, and nobody could figure it out then either. Someone said they should check the electrical wiring in that room, which I agree is a good move. But other than that, everyone else says this is super weird, and even she has to admit she's creeped out. There's also one more weird thing that I wasn't even going to mention, except she saw it too. A shadow figure in the doorway. You can see it whenever the lights go down, but it's probably most apparent at 4 seconds. I took a still image and zoomed in. Here it is with no special effects whatsoever. The outline of a shadow figure looking out the window. Tell me if you can see it too. I'd say that house is haunted, if that's not a resident. A Spanish-speaking YouTube channel called Fearless Omar Crew pairs up with Ricky Velasquez to track down what they are calling the most cursed witch in the world. Silently watching from within a hideout in the middle of the woods is a dark figure. Their high-powered survival flashlight does nothing to brighten its face, even when shined directly in the window. They should run away screaming for help then and there because, nobody wants to get a curse after all. But the group decides to go on the offensive and confront whoever or whatever is inside. Waiting for them is this creepy doll pointing their way. Again, running away and getting help seems like the smartest possible option at this point, but they instead walk around while actually holding the doll, checking every hiding spot possible. Then they hear this disembodied voice in an area that they just looked in moments before.
¿Quién eres?
I think it might be the witch taunting them further. Perhaps the doll was not pointing at them earlier, but rather at someone behind them. Anyway, as they are trying to make sense of the situation, this noise scatters their thoughts. If you speak Spanish, please give us a rundown on their conversation before this happens, as well as their reaction after.
Es que se oigo mejor. Luego cuando estoy agarrando el celular me pongo una, pero ahorita se me puedo poner las dos.
That absolutely sounded like a cackle of a witch taking enjoyment in their fear, or at least a woman who lost her mind long ago. Maybe whoever was laughing was also placing a powerful curse on them both, one that I hope does not extend to me and you. This home video looks like it was taken sometime during the 1990s. A child is sitting in a high chair, happily learning about the different names for various parts of the body when something briefly interrupts the innocent lesson.
This is my elbow.
Where is...
Where's the
Ghost?
The child tracks an invisible object with an exaggerated head motion. Then he mumbles about a ghost. It's hard to tell what he says, but I think he might have said there's the ghost or something along those lines, almost as if he's been at it before and has been expecting to see it again for some time. The child thinks for a bit and then says something else that's really weird.
Daddy, kill him?
Yeah.
It almost sounds like he's asking if his dad got the ghost or something like that. It's hard to tell what he says here, so give me your best guess. Maybe together we can figure out the surrounding circumstances behind this video. Anyway, things go back to normal for a bit, and it looks like the paranormal encounter is over. But then he makes a really confused face and looks around again, saying something else that's completely indecipherable. Even if we were to know the identity of the child in this video, I doubt they would remember anything of use. All we have to go by is this puzzling piece of paranormal evidence. If you think you see someone that others don't, you may be right. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Christina7658, the Redditor explains that a friend that works at a Subway in South Texas recorded this footage from a security monitor after a coworker kept seeing a cowboy who apparently wasn't really there. The bad quality of the footage is due to the fact that this happened more than 10 years ago. This is what the pair found when they reviewed it. A shadow figure is seen rising from the ground near the entryway. The mist-like figure appears to hover for a moment before making its exit through the window. This has most in the comments freaked out, with Typeractive Audie stating, "You can see his hat. I won't sleep tonight." Other Redditors like JCKCS Mama debunk the all too common insect on the lens theory by stating that the anomaly doesn't appear from the edges of the camera frame, as one might expect a crawling insect to. Instead, it seems to come directly from the ground. Christina also states that the anomaly appears to take on the window tint as it exits the building. She also notes that the worker who kept seeing the cowboy had seen it throughout her entire shift. There used to be another video of her washing dishes, and a black blob like the one in the video is next to her. Although she couldn't find the other video, the combination of events has many leaning towards the paranormal. Others suggest that corruption of the videotape or the camera's hardwire issues could be a more practical explanation. But is that what you're seeing here? Ghost investigations are even scarier in another language. In this video posted to YouTube in December of 2018, ghost investigators attempt to infiltrate an abandoned house that we can only guess is haunted. At least it looks that way. While exploring the home, the investigator keeps hearing things moving, debris being unsettled, and from the way he's jerking his camera around, it seems he's sensing movements around him.
2층에
What is in this home with him? The place appears as though someone just picked up and left. It's covered with debris and looks like it was abandoned in a state of chaos. While creeping around some upstairs room, the ghost investigators appear to sense someone or something, and that something grabs a hold of him. It's clear he's struggling with a force in the home. He tussles with it and for a moment is dragged backwards by the force before he escapes, racing out of there like his life depends on it, which it probably does. What is going on in this video? Is there any explanation as to what pulled this ghost investigator backwards? It certainly looks real to me. For fear of knowing, don't answer. After all, I don't think 99% of people could handle the answer.
어딨어? 자신 있으면 나와봐.
What you discover when out late at night can make your skin crawl. Posted to Reddit, the Redditor writes, people are saying it could be a skinwalker. The on-screen caption reads, something weird is happening in my town. And after watching the video, you'll agree with that statement. The video begins with something hopping on all fours over a hill while roaring in an animalistic manner. It's hard to tell what the thing is at a distance, human or animal. The second clip in the series reads, dude, something is in the shed at Desert Willow, and it certainly sounds like it. Something is beating against the barred doors of a shed at night. There's also a terrifying growling voice heard, though its words are inaudible. It's difficult to tell if the thing is human, but it continues to beat at the walls of the shed. Part 2 of the video series reads, stay away from Dynamite Park. In it, barking, howling, and wailing are heard. It doesn't sound like a dog, nor does it sound human. Again, the video captures an unidentified creature at a distance, racing around on all fours. Could this be a skinwalker? Don't stick around to find out. Nevertheless, it appears some serious mysteries are taking place in that town. The State Line Bridge connects Virginia to North Carolina, but locals call it Satan's Bridge due to the large amount of ritual activity going on under there. A YouTuber named Scary Weather made a documentary about it almost 20 years ago, and recently came across the footage again. The first half of the video shows nothing but animal bodies littering the ground, which I can't show here. He then comes back the next day and videotapes all of the weird graffiti and other ritualistic scenes, like these 5 rocks for example. If you happen to know what this symbol means, or what enchantments were being cast here, then please share what you know, and also tell me what the white paint means here, because I honestly can't even begin to guess.
Also, you see here 5 stones with a white mark in them.
This part of the bridge looks like it could be some sort of altar. There's a huge dark red stain on the ground that trails off into tiny blotches. Something tells me that's probably not paint, but let me know what you think. There's one last fact about this location that I have to tell you. Now, I'm not a numerical conspiracy theorist by any means, but the identification number of this state bridge happens to be 6906. If you take out the 0 and flip the middle 6, You get 3 6s in a row. When things go haywire in your own home, it's easy to jump to a paranormal conclusion, especially when there appears to be poltergeist activity. Posted to YouTube in January of 2012, the uploader explains, "This is real footage taken at my house. As you can see the way the bottle moves, this is inhuman and impossible for a human to make a bottle move and gesture in these motions. This is totally real and scary. So if you are faint of heart, do not watch this, please. This is video of real paranormal activity." In the video, the men enter the kitchen, where a bottle on the floor appears to be rolling around of its own accord. After they enter the room, it stops for a moment before spinning around again. It twirls on its side and then stands straight up on its base. One brave man picks it up and puts it on the kitchen counter, which is where the clip ends. YouTuber MRLWAP2 in the comments suggests there's helium in the plastic bottle, but most people are more alarmed by the zebra pattern cupboards than the so-called ghost. Jenny Chanel writes that zebra print would make even a plastic bottle want to escape a room. So is this a supernatural case, or simply a case of terrible interior design? Only that soda bottle knows. The Jordanian ghost hunter, known only as Mr. Harith, is back at it again with more scary stuff caught on live stream video, this time while exploring an abandoned house once inhabited by an alleged witch.
ان شاء الله يعني شوف في الحمام. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
This could be one of his friends, but each time he looks in the room the witch was just in, the figure has disappeared.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق.
Things get really weird when this ghost caught on live stream mysteriously disappears as well.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. لا 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 راح والله راح. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
This might have been caused by a live stream delay, except it doesn't drop frames and the resolution stays the same. The ghost witch is simply there 1 second and gone the next. Sometimes you're not safe even inside your locked home. This video proves it. In June of 2018, 2 separate Ring doorbells caught a woman trying to enter into Denver area homes. While several of the enterings were only attempts, one was successful. At 4 a.m., the unlucky homeowner, fast asleep along with his wife and 2 sons, said that he heard his back door open and after slowly walking jumped into action. He launched downstairs, shouting if there was anyone down there, and he came upon the culprit in action, racing from the living room to the front door. The next door neighbor managed to capture her red-handed, but to his surprise, not only did the Ring video capture the woman at the neighbor's house, but it caught her attempted entering of his own home too. As it turns out, the culprit wasn't done. The following day, another nearby neighbor caught the brazen woman on his Ring security camera, also trying to enter. It is very scary that she came back to the same street that next night, the homeowner said. She allegedly made off with the family heirlooms and his wife's wedding ring. The family's sense of security is their greatest loss, however. Almost a week later, it's hard to sleep at night. We feel violated as a family, the homeowner said. Will you be able to sleep tonight? Don't believe in unknown beings? What if one strolled right up to tap on your window? This unknown being footage, posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by 77Curen, will inspire you to take a trip over to Area 51. The footage shows an unknown being approach the window of a home. Its features are quite clear, with black gashes for eyes and an elongated cranium. You know, the kind of features you might expect from an unknown being. The unknown being stands there, peering into the home, observing. It even looks as though it's trying to find a way to open the window. If that is indeed what it's doing, it doesn't succeed, instead slinking off, perhaps to find the homeowner to take him. What do you think of this unknown being footage, real or fake? Either way, I'll be locking my windows tonight. The next time you're getting inked up, you'd best beware the angry poltergeists that may haunt the place. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Little Bo, the uploader explains that the ghost in their studio is becoming increasingly aggressive, particularly targeting men. The video shows the ghost in action as the artist is preparing to give a customer some ink. Several things literally launch from the nearby shelf, falling down on the artist, who covers his head. In the comments, the OP says the items that were thrown were a bottle and a Bluetooth speaker. It seems this is not a unique thing for studios. A Redditor mentions their 100-year-old studio's poltergeist is quite active as well. He writes, "If you're in the basement, you can hear people walking above you, even if there's no one there, and just a general sense of dread. Once I was there alone after hours drawing, and the phone rang 3 times, and then read line in use as if someone picked up the phone. I refused to be there alone." The OP responds that the doorbell of their studio also goes off a lot without anyone entering, as they call such events their phantom no-show clients. Is this angry ghost one of their phantom no-shows? We can only guess. A YouTuber named Daniel finds a graveyard that is different than most others. It is in a bad state of disrepair, but beyond that, some of the graves are just plain missing.
Doesn't look like it's 6 feet deep either.
The graves could have simply been relocated, but if that were the case, then I think that the grave sites would have been filled back in. For some reason though, this graveyard has perfectly dug up graves with absolutely no evidence of a burial. There's no casket and no headstone. It's not like these plots were recently dug for a future burial either. Vegetation is slowly creeping back over them, and they are covered with a light bed of dry leaves. Whatever the explanation for the absence of these graves, one thing is for sure, clearly a lot of time has passed since they've been uncovered. When you visit a place that's notoriously haunted, don't expect to be disappointed. Posted to YouTube by Corndictive, the uploader writes of this clip, "Watch the very top window of the house. That flash didn't happen when we were taping this, and none of us know what it is. There were no cars out when this happened. The top window in question is that of the Glenmore Mansion." This clip necessitates a little background on this spooky place. As it turns out, many of the historical sites of Jefferson County, Tennessee are crazy haunted. Glenmore Mansion was built in 1799. It belonged to a family for a century and was later bought up by Mr. Milton Preston Jarnigan, who named the house after his first son, who passed away as an infant. The home was in the Jarnigan family for a further century. Over the course of more than 2 centuries, passing in this old home were bound to occur, resulting in the haunting of these hallowed grounds. According to some legends, the house is like an Escher drawing in that the exterior windows are more in number than the interior windows. Others also suggest the home's height changes, although some say the mega mansion has 15 rooms across 5 stories, with other sites reporting there are 27 rooms. When the mansion falls dark, visitors claim there's a presence roaming around the home, but don't worry, the presence is benevolent. Some believe it to be the ghost of a local historian, Thomas Roach. When alive, Roach claimed that if ever a ghost was found there, it would be him. But one of the creepiest sightings happened outside the mansion altogether. A young girl is often seen walking along the estate's road at night in the darkness. From unexplained sounds to shadows in the mirrors, the mansion has had its fair share of ghastly ghosts. Tours of the home are routine, but once the lights are out and the house has been abandoned for the night, some say a light turns on in the attic. This Victorian gem of a house seems so perfectly cookie cutter that it's the perfect place for a haunting, and the unsettling nature of the home is confirmed by this video. The crew focuses in on an upstairs window where they see lights or a flash of white and something moving inside. Can you spot it? Whether you believe in ghosts or not, you probably wouldn't want to be in Glenmore Mansion when the lights turned on. Some rather unexplained paranormal activity was caught on video video when a ghost hunter by the name of Tracy puts their camera on the floor of a haunted house, one of the many haunted places in an unnamed ghost town they're exploring all alone. Soon, strange noises are heard as a shadow figure slowly plays against the wall. This might be an actual shadow figure, or someone walking across the window to create the appearance of one. The noises make sound like they could be special effects played from a speaker. A YouTuber named Jake Carlini and his friends all want to experience creepy randonautica moments, so they summon the scariest thing that comes to mind: forest clowns.
We're all gonna think about clowns.
The app takes them randonauting to a scary location in the woods that creeps them out even in broad daylight. A bird calls overhead, but listen closely and you'll hear creepy noises coming from deeper in the woods.
Do you guys hear that?
Circus music, to be precise.
I hear circus music.
Oh my god.
It's not like an ice cream truck would be driving out here, so there's no reason for scary sounds to be playing in the middle of the woods. They leave before they can get a clown sighting on video, but maybe they'll go exploring there again one day. Well, some orbs do indeed appear like nothing but floating dust. Others act more strangely. Published to YouTube by Ryan Blake in April 2020, he writes, "Caught this on our night vision camera at about 4 a.m. This is a very used basement, and there really isn't any dust down there, since my wife and I keep it very clean. Don't know what to make of it really." The series of videos shows orbs on several occasions sweeping past the camera. The first one flies from the upper left corner down to the bottom right. The second up the right side of the screen. The third briefly appears after the YouTuber shuts the door at the end of the hallway to go to bed. And the fourth flies up to the right and then back down again, returning to the bottom left corner. Is this a case of bugs, dust, or other explainable events? Or could this be a spirit channeling these homeowners, attempting to be made known? If only we could ask the orbs what their motive is. Asylums hold dark energy, and this one is no exception. This footage posted by the Paranormal Files navigates their visit to Penhurst Asylum. Patient number 1 entered the asylum on November 23, 1908. It took only 4 years for the hospital to be overrun by residents, with pressure to include others. The patients weren't only there to be treated, they were there to contribute to industry, whether it be farming, making and repairing mattresses or shoes, cooking or sewing. There were a number of industries to which patients were assigned. Accused of ill treatment of patients, 9 employees of the institute were indicted in 1983. Known as the Halderman case, this indictment ended in the institution's closure and the discharge or transference of 460 patients to other facilities. With all that in mind, it's crystal clear that evil things happened at this institution. These happenings resulted in a presence that would make your stomach turn. Many claim that the site is haunted. In fact, the institute's administration building was partially renovated as the Penhurst Asylum Haunted House in 2010. Again, using the site as such an attraction has been controversial due to the injustice that occurred there, but opening the place to the public has allowed paranormal investigators to explore the hallowed grounds. If you're one who likes to fast forward to the scary parts, Jessie P in the comments has you covered, listing all the sightings or disembodied voices she caught in her viewing of the footage. Some of the catches are confirmed by others in the thread, particularly the hotspot at minute 46. Around 46 minutes 35 seconds, Jessie notes a male whisper saying go back. At 46 minutes 50 seconds, the same male voice states, I'm a male.
Like right next to this ear.
At 46 minutes 56 seconds, a female says, he is attacking you. Lots of other disembodied voices are caught by viewers watching the tour of the Institute. And at 1 hour, 5 minutes, 50 seconds, there appears a strange light anomaly as the light or figure seems to shift in the darkness of the hallway. If you're brave enough to watch the entirety of this video, let us know in the comments if you've spotted other anomalies or heard any additional disembodied voices. Have you ever played hide and seek with a ghost? Posted in April of 2020, this footage shows you can run but you can't hide. Entering a disused building at night, which appears to have been an office building of some kind, this brave soul navigates the deserted place, with rooms littered with debris and office chairs overturned in the hallway. The guy filming seems to sense the presence of something unseen. He addresses it, but nothing makes itself known. Looking up and down hallways and around corners, he decides to ascend the stairs. On the second level, an overhead fan is spinning. With no electricity on, this movement is incredibly eerie. He calls out again to whatever presence is in the haunted building, before tentatively walking up the rest of the stairs and turning the corner to another hallway. He exhales audibly in relief after finding the hallway empty. As he walks down the hall, with small scraps of paper scattered everywhere on the floor, he hears a sharp click. He kicks a door from one of the adjacent rooms open. Checking all corners of the room and behind the door, he finds no one and nothing in there. He runs to the opposite room, also kicking the door open and entering it to find it empty, apart from furniture. He returns to the hallway, looking back and forth several times before continuing down the hall. As he turns another corner, scanning the next hallway and its rooms, he screams as an office chair glides past behind him. When he turns to enter a room, he kicks the chair away from him, but moments later the chair moves again as he continues down the hallway. Now the noises really escalate. There are bangs and sounds coming from every direction. As he walks past a room, the door slams shut. He enters the room and a window slides open. More sounds bang all around, causing him to race out of there for his life.
Bismillah, Allahu Akbar.
As he arrives at the stairwell, a loud screeching is heard, like tables being moved around, only the screeching doesn't stop for a long time.
استحلفتكم بالله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة.
After watching this footage, one thing's for sure, this haunted building is not for the faint of heart. Nadeem Shah suspects he's caught some paranormal things on video when he goes exploring an abandoned building that is little more than pillars in the dark. He suspects a place this creepy has to be haunted, and the ghost hunter's instincts are not wrong.
हम देखते हैं अगर हमें कोई यहाँ पे भारी चीज़ या कोई जिनों का साया नज़र आता है कि नहीं, हम जिन की तलाश में निकल तो ओह नाजरीन ये कुछ हिलता हुआ हमें नज़र आया है, तो ये आवाज़ें कैसी आ रही हैं, आए नाजरीन हम हिम्मत करके वहाँ जाने की कोशिश करते.
2 ghost sightings are enough for Nadeem. He needs a paranormal encounter up close to be fully convinced. He follows the ghost into the darkness for one final sighting.
इसको देखते हैं ये कौन सी मखलूक है, क्या चीज़ है, इसको हम पकड़ने की कोशिश करते हैं. ये इस तरफ से नज़र आ रही है, इधर से हम जाने की कोशिश करते हैं.
He's all alone when a slow-moving shadow figure glides across the pillar without making a sound. It's not someone walking behind him either, because Nadeem would already be blocking out the light himself. It's a real ghost sighting as far as I'm concerned. A paranormal entity, a moving shadow that deeply creeps him out and sends him on his way. Enough said. Some videos have the power to keep us up all night long. As we're drifting off to sleep, they enter into our subconscious, making us sit bolt upright. The fear is real. The fright. This was posted to Reddit with the uploader writing, "My friend is security at the airport, and he saw this through the security cameras. The video shows an American Airlines desk with what appears to be a service door beside it. The airport looks empty. Perhaps the security footage was taken during closing hours. But if it's empty, what makes the door do this? The door swings open aggressively, with no one behind it. These types of doors are usually heavy and secure, and as Astral Cath explains in the comments, are often locked or require a manual code to open, so it's unclear how wind or something natural might have burst the door open like this. So what could it be? Theories in the comments range from a ghost running late for a flight to unequal air pressure. Redditor Steve MageGod points out that there's a slight shadow change before the door flings open, so as usually happens, we've got those who think this is paranormal activity on one side, and the skeptics who suggest this could be readily explained on the other. Which side are you on? Have you ever wondered if a ghost might appear in your next selfie? Well, this video is evidence that they're all around us, at all times. The girl in the video is using a Snapchat filter, which appears to be capturing a nearby ghost. At least the filter is putting dog ears on a face that doesn't exist. The girl asks the ghost to stick its tongue out for her, when she realizes there may be two spirits there as two dog filters appear in the empty space.
You want to stick your tongue out for me? Because this is pretty... Whoa. Whoa, there's two of them.
Throughout the video, one of the dog filters disappears only to reappear in a different place. The girl tells the spirits they are welcome there and just to clean up after themselves. Then the bigger ghost moves closer. She asks if it's going to stick its tongue out at her, only to have the dog disappear again. And then...
Are you just going to, no? Okay. Are you gone? Are you gonna come back?
That was a jump scare if I've ever saw one. Are these friendly ghosts or villainous pranksters? Your guess is as good as mine. All I can say for sure is that something suspicious is happening here. A YouTuber named Vision Quest Outdoors is exploring the Gettysburg field when he has what he believes is a real video of a ghost sighting. The video is pretty scary and I think he could be right. Let's take a look at the paranormal evidence and try to figure out what it was he and his friends say on that night.
What is that? Oh my god. What am I seeing? No way there's a guy out here at 2 a.m.
According to the uploader, they turned around only to find the figure had mysteriously disappeared.
But they didn't move. Swing around.
This is the footage from when they turned around, but unfortunately it's too dark to make out very much one way or another. I believe what he says is true because if I'm not mistaken, this footage is from the same location during the day. There are cannons lined up here, but no statue whatsoever. If this was the same location, then this definitely has to be a real ghost sighting caught on video. Have you ever filmed a video for your significant other, only to see something paranormal happen behind you? This video appears to show a military man sending a message to his girlfriend or wife, a woman named Trish, telling her he wishes he could be home with her. That's not the scary part, obviously. What's scary is what happens in the background. As he's filming his loving message, what appears to be a sweatshirt on the bed behind him moves of its own accord. And it's not just a small twitch. It's like someone is temporarily inside the sweatshirt. The movement is enough to catch the guy's attention. He looks over his shoulder, but that's when the fear is maxed out within him.
Trish, I love you. I wish I could be home with you too. I know we...
As the cupboard doors beside him burst aggressively open, the man, plainly disturbed by this strange occurrence, gets up and looks around the cupboard and inside before fleeing the scene. Once he's left, one of the cupboard doors swings nearly closed. What is happening here? What is haunting this room? The ghost of a forgotten trooper? With just this video footage, I guess we'll never know. A YouTuber named Jerry Wells and a housemate sit across from each other while playing with a Ouija board. Apparently, they have been experiencing strange paranormal disturbances around the home for some time. And now they're turning to the Ouija board for answers.
We're going to try to find out what's in this house. I don't know how else to try to contact it. We've got to find out what it wants. I'm going to see if I can get it to leave us alone.
Look closely and you can see the board quivering unnaturally as they speak.
Or tell us what you want. What it'll take to leave me and my family and our home alone. And never return. We're tired of this. Just tell us what you want.
Jerry Wells asks what it wants, and BLOOD is the reply, followed by a metaphysical reaction.
What do you mean, blood? What the hell do you want? Come on now.
Oh my God,
Son of
If this is fake, then I have no idea how they did this. You can clearly see underneath the table the entire time, so it's not magnets, and I don't see a string either. If you don't believe this is paranormal, then let me know how they managed to make the board shake and jump straight into the air. A man is holding very still with his arm out at an odd angle. That's because he doesn't want to attract the wrath of this dangerous little fellow who somehow slithered into a scary situation. He is helpless as his friend carefully pinches his sleeve to determine where the snake is. He makes a cutting motion with his free hand to tell his friend what to do, not wanting to alert the snake with the vibrations of his voice. Once they carefully cut away the sleeve, you can see the snake is curled around his right bicep and in no hurry to leave. The mouth is right by his arm and it would take less than a second to strike with fangs. They wisely pull open the sleeve with the scissors to distract the snake and get its head away from his arm, but there's not enough room, so they need to cut more. By now, the snake is getting upset, so with no time left, they reach in and scoop him out. I guess they could have done that the whole time, but it was much too risky to be a first option. Take a look at its markings and tell me what kind of snake this is. I'm guessing by the way they handle it with such extreme caution that it has to be venomous. If you saw this on your home security camera, what would you think? According to Johnny Smither 333, who posted the video to the Ghosts subreddit, the strange capture came from his living room's motion detection camera. Whatever this flash is had enough presence to set off the camera, but it's unclear what that blur might be. While many in the comments say it's a bug, others like SPM Wiggy offers more creative suggestions. She writes, "It's a tiny witch on a matchstick. Clearly you can see the hat and the giant witch nose." Another Redditor suggests that it could be gremlins. The Redditor says that in slow motion, it looks like it appeared out of thin air. He also notes that as soon as it gets closer to the camera, it doesn't look like any bug he's seen. Have you seen a bug that looks like this? I know that's likely the culprit in cases of videos like this, but I definitely agree I've never seen a bug that looks like this before. Therefore, there is at least a reasonable chance this is truly paranormal. Remember that guy who was caught on a Ring doorbell video licking someone's doorbell? Well, we've just found his soulmate. Posted in December of 2017, the footage shows a young blonde woman approach the doorbell. At first, it appears as if it was provoked by a dare. The woman walks up to the doorbell, holds up her hands strangely, as though she knows she's on candid camera, and then looks over to her right, as if looking at someone out of frame. But then she walks back, just standing awkwardly, looking around at random, before approaching the door again. Is she waiting for someone to answer? Maybe, but what she does while waiting is not normal. The woman opens her mouth wide, moving closer to the camera, and you can actually hear her bite. She then backs away again, as though nothing happened, appears to be waiting for a moment, then starts to do this. Well, it's all well and good to get your daily exercise in. Doing that on someone's doorstep late at night after biting their security camera seems a little out of it, don't you agree? The video of this home was originally published in December of 2013. The uploader explains that he was woken by someone pounding at his door and ringing the doorbell around 1:35 in the morning, setting off his barking dog alarm. He assumes the two guys outside were pleading for help with the intention of entering their home. Luckily, the homeowner's steel front door and his common sense prevented the would-be intruders from taking further action. They eventually left. The whole scenario is terrifying, but a closer look at the security footage that seems to have been captured in the same home 2 years later in February of 2015 turns up something even creepier. A shadow person seems to manifest on the living room wall and is seen walking from the hallway towards the front door. Is it just some sort of visual remnant of the homeowner on the clip, or did a spirit invade his home when he wasn't looking? Considering both of these insanely creepy incidents, I'd have to agree with Redditor, just a touch too much, who writes simply, "Time to move." A YouTuber named High Gear and his friend are riding dirt bikes in the Russian woods when one of them almost gets their head taken clean off. His friend ducks just in time to avoid a steel cable that's been stretched tightly between two trees. The tripwire would have done some serious damage if he hadn't moved out of the way. They think it's a trap set by some psycho lurking in the forest. You can hear the anger and disgust in his voice as he talks about what they should do next. He even talks about hiding in the woods for a while and getting revenge on whoever returns to the spot. Ultimately, they decide to simply disarm the trap and take the wire cable with them. If this video is real, then whoever set this trap must still be out there waiting for their next chance, so I hope High Gear and his friends stay safe out there. This video was taken in 2001 by the Mills family while hiking Marble Mountain in Maine. Their leader, Jim Mills, zooms in on what could be a humanoid watching them across a pond.
At us?
I don't see it.
Moving now.
The tree is? It's to the right of him. He's walking that way. Okay. See the King's Castle? Yeah.
He's kind of little.
As it approaches the group, we get a better glimpse at its strange shape. Even from this distance, its shoulders look broad, and it has a powerful lower body with arms that come down to its knees.
It does not look like a person. Its arms are way too big. Look at how long the hands hang down to the...
At 6 minutes and 9 seconds, the creature seems to point at them and wave its fist. My theory is that, assuming this is real, the creature is guarding its only water source and telling them to come no closer. You may think that this creature looks somewhat small from this distance, but considering the fact that his camera is zoomed all the way in, it's actually giant, but it could also simply be CGI. Mysterious, unexplained lights were recently sighted over Brazil, just north of Rio de Janeiro. The diagonal formation of strange lights stretches into the night sky and blinks in and out of sight. It's not a constellation because there are no stars in the sky, just these strange unexplained lights that slowly move to the right and glow a fierce red when the camera zooms in. As the camera moves across the city to show there are no stars, they see more strange lights in the sky. These ones closer to Earth, a large column of lights at 56 seconds that should not be there at all. It looks like it could be a building, but according to them it's not. More lights seem to drop and lower to the ground, but it's too far away to tell. When he zooms out, he is surprised to find most of the skylights are already gone. This happened on June 24th of 2020, and if you're wondering why I was never reported on the news, maybe it's because we were never supposed to find out. Not only do you have to worry about pyrotechnic incidents at work, you might have to worry about ghosts as well. YouTuber Joey Nike 12 posted this video of a store he claims is haunted in Kingsville. At the beginning of the video, he tells a coworker, "Let's go record that room," before heading to the haunted room in question. They set a video camera up to record the purportedly paranormal activity that occurs in this room. About 3 minutes into the footage, you can see a dustpan move ever so slightly, and then not ever so slightly. It falls over, and a moment later, the door next to it slams closed. The The boys re-enter the room nonchalantly, not knowing the strangeness that has just occurred there, but after coming across this video that went too far, they may not want to enter this haunted storage room ever again. It's after midnight and a YouTuber named Angie, the Green-Eyed Angel, is exploring a ghost town that is completely abandoned. She isn't even finished the introduction to her video before weird stuff starts happening. It took me a couple of listens, but I can actually hear the wind whispering her name here.
Abandoned ghost town. Hopefully you can see it behind me. I swear, I just heard my name.
Apparently the wind has other things to say as well.
What is that?
Strange noises continue to follow Angie as she sneaks through old buildings filled with spiderwebs and rotting architecture. After about 20 minutes of exploring, Angie stops and thinks she sees a grayish figure looking back at her.
Oh, I don't know if the camera can even see it.
Footsteps from behind send her screaming into the night. This scary moment, taken by the McD3 in the Isle of Palms, South Carolina, shows how even a relaxing family vacation at the beach is never truly safe.
Hey, get her out!
The mother has her back turned and misses it, but the father sees a small shark fin and tells her to run away. I don't think the juvenile shark was actively going after them, but what's really scary when you think about it is how the deep sea creature has already gone past before it gets noticed. Had the shark been just a few feet closer to shore, it would have been directly in their path. And we all know that when sharks are surprised, they rely on their teeth to get out of the situation. It doesn't look like anyone else is in the water, but if there is a nearby lifeguard, then I hope they report the shark so they could get everyone to safety. What happens when your shop vandals turn out to be paranormal? This security footage was published in April of 2010 by Old Phantom 13. He writes, "We had been having problems with people breaking into and vandalizing our shop, or so we thought, so we set up several security cameras. This is what one of our cameras picked up. If you watch closely at the beginning, you'll be able to see what we believe is some type of spirit or ghost. The video shows lockers inside the shop slamming closed, one after another. Then repeated slamming noises are heard off screen. A wheelchair in the middle of the room rolls slowly from one side to the other. What do you think? Are these ghosts into vandalism? Or is this another video of strings, like some in the comments suggest? It certainly looks convincing when I look at it. Have you ever played peekaboo with the paranormal? Redditor Paranormal Purgatory has posted to the Chills Narrator subreddit. He writes, "An apparition was caught peeking around the door at a 150-year-old farmhouse mansion with tons of EVPs and footsteps, and a child asking for help and wanting us to play. At the moment in question, the Redditor is walking down a hallway when his battery starts running out. As he approaches a room, something is clearly peering around the corner at him. It moves quickly out of sight once it notices that it's been seen. The Redditor shouts 'hey' at it. The thing is definitely a figure, not a lens flare, and can't be explained away as some technical glitch. Moreover, the Redditor clearly saw it in reality. The team thinks they, without a doubt, caught something paranormal on camera. Do you? I sure do." A man claims that he keeps experiencing paranormal activity in his dining room and nowhere else. He feels unsafe and decides to leave a camera running in the dining room to see what goes on when he's not around. Nothing happens for a while, but then something comes along in the window that looks questionable. This is the zoomed in version. A tiny face appears to peek out at them from the glass panel on the bottom right before darting out of sight. You can't really make out any of its features, but notice how some orbs float by shortly before this happens. It's hard to tell if it's a paranormal creature or just a small animal, but I wouldn't want to be left alone in the house to find out. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Angelina is with some friends, and they are exploring an abandoned house that was apparently the scene of some very horrible events. The house is certainly creepy, and as they explore, the video has a feeling of unease, almost like something could pop out at any second. But it's at the 9-minute and 32-second mark when Angelina's friend looks into a dark room that things get beyond strange. She sees something so creepy, it sends her leaving with a high-pitched scream.
Oh my god.
Inside the room is basically a spider fortress, with webs covering almost every inch of the room. I feel bad for any future urban explorer who accidentally walks into that room, especially if you have a fear of spiders. This would be enough to scare you for life. If insects aren't your thing, then this entry will highly test your bravery. This footage is of an insect swarm at the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. The uploader writes, "During our family holiday in 1996 or 7, we had parked the car and gone for a short walk up the cliffs. When we came back, we found that our car had become a hotspot for these giant wood lice, sea slaters. The clip shows piles upon piles of wood lice crawling around the car tires, an absolutely terrifying sea of insects, all coalescing beneath the vehicle. As the uploader says, probably attracted to its cozy comfiness. After seeing this, would you be brave enough to climb back in and leave? I thought not." Published in July of 2020, the Urban Ghosts Urban Exploration team took the Randonautica app on a wild ride intended to lead them into places unknown. But somehow, for this team, the random destination was all too familiar. The app wound up taking them to a haunted cemetery that they'd explored 2 years prior. Joe explains that this is a bike park winding back into a cemetery deep into some heavy woods. During their last visit, they'd been scared out of it by what they thought was a bear. At one point, while looking at a grave in the fenced-in cemetery,
"These are so old. You can kind of make it out."
whispering is heard in the background. All of Patty's batteries, which were fully charged, are now completely empty. When they fire up the spirit box, the spirit immediately says the name Joe. When asked if there's something they're supposed to find here, the spirit answers, "Near you." Joe feels like they're being watched. They keep hearing a man's voice coming from all directions. Rob, who's taking still images, also captures strange mists that appear in only some photographs. But the scariest find the team discovers in this haunted cemetery is a jewelry box on the ground. After misplacing it, they speak to the spirits through the spirit box again to see what's become of it. The spirit says Curtis.
It said Kurt. What did the box say again?
Later, they happen upon the carved jewelry box, which has somehow been placed ahead of them on the path, and find the inscription Curtis carved into it. Who is Curtis and what's in the box? These questions are going to keep me up all night. Thank you so much for getting me to 30,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 40,000 subscribers next. Thank you.